Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my people. What's happening? Today's video, I know it's been one you guys have been waiting for a while. The few of you that do watch. And so the few of you that watch and have been supporting, I really appreciate it. Carry on if you can. This one video today, it's about alternatives to a mortgage. And look, if you are in an agreement with me and we understand that mortgages are haram, then do me a favor. When I share this with you, when I give you the information, and when I tell you what alternatives we can do, share it with your family and friends. Because if we can stop one person from having a mortgage, my job is done. And of course, it is Allah that will guide the hearts, but it's our job to give the little information that we can. Now, before we get on, I am not here saying that this information is going to be applicable to everyone. And in fact, we're going to make more and more parts on the same topic. However, I'm going to talk about a particular scenario. And that scenario being, if, for example, you get a property handed down to you by your parents, or you get a large sum of money handed down to you by someone, which of course happens to us many times, right? Now with our generations, our parents, of course, have been here for a few years, and sometimes we get handed down a house to us which may already have a mortgage, or we may already have equity in it. Sometimes we make the mistake of selling that house and buying a bigger house. I'm here gonna tell you what a better alternative is for you guys instead of selling that same house and buying a bigger house. Now, this will also be applicable for those who have a large sum of money as well, maybe as deposit or other forms of equity maybe you have in your bank accounts, for example. So, all I ask from you is watch this video, give me until the end, listen with an open heart and see what I have to say. So my people, we're at the board, and when we're at the board, it's about to get serious, you hear me? So, I'm going to give you guys an example where you get some money passed down by your parents. For example, they had a house and now they want to give it to you, and so you're going to have, say, let's just say 100 or 200,000 pound. A lot of the times people fall into a mistake of buying a bigger house or doing something which maybe they shouldn't do with that equity. So we're going to talk about what you should do with that amount. For example, now, if you get given 300k, right? The house itself is worth 300k. The mortgage on that is, let's say it's 50k left. Mama and Paps have been paying that mortgage off and you only got 50k left now. Now, you're left with 250. Now, mind the writing, I'm not a writer. Having said that, this is the money that we need to talk about. Because a lot of the times what people think is, I've got £250,000 and I need to do something where I can borrow more, i.e. I can borrow another £200,000 or another £300,000 via the bank, and with this money I could buy a massive house. And I'm going to tell you why that's not the way to do it. Now, I know, we're talking numbers and you guys might start dozing off, but trust me, bear with me. 250k is the amount that we have to play with, right? So, we're going to say if we can buy a house for 70k, right? Then how many houses can we have? We can have 3 houses. Now, for the brothers and sisters in around London, you're thinking, how am I going to buy a flat or a house for £70,000? And this is where I want the brothers and sisters from up north to comment below. Because you can buy a house or a flat for £70,000 outright, okay? Outright, no mortgage, none of that hocus pocus, outright. But this is the key thing. If you buy this house or flat outright in Manchester or in Birmingham or a little bit up north, you're looking at a yield, that's how you spell it. If you don't know my writing, then I'm sorry, but that's how you spell it. Give it a Google search. Up north, you're looking at 7 to 8%. Now, what does that mean? That means for the property amount, let's say it's £70,000, you can gain rent of 7 to 8%. Okay, so bear with me now. If you have a, for example, flat for £70,000, there is a very high chance you could get £500 or £600 in rent from these flats. So watch this. If you have £250,000 and you buy 3 flats times 3 at £500 and you put each flat on rent, you're looking at £1,500 per calendar month. Now, for the ones who are a little bit negative, of course, we'll say, yeah, but that's not guaranteed. What if the guys don't pay rent? What if something happens? I hear that. But we're still looking at £500, which is still a little bit reserved for the sort of rental yield you get up north. We're still being a little bit reserved. And even if we say, for example, a flat is not on rent for 3 months, or even if we say 6 months, we're still looking at about £1,000. That's the amount you will earn from rental yield. But bear with me, because 250 take away 210 is 40k. So you already have £40,000 maybe that you can play with. Maybe you can save another 10 or 15 or £20,000 where you can then buy another flat for £60,000 or £65,000, and you're thinking, is it even possible? Yes, Manchester, again up north, outskirts of Manchester, Birmingham, you're probably looking at about the 70 mark. However, it is very likely Liverpool, where you guys are like, what, Liverpool, who wants to even live there? But the highest rental yield is in Liverpool. There's 3 or 4 universities where there's a brilliant place where you can buy a flat and earn potentially up to 10% rental yield. And of course, there are deductions. I'm not saying there aren't. But the fact is, you're making your money make money for you. So now, my people, I've got 2 numbers here. £1,500 is what you will earn from the £250,000 that you got from a property that your parents passed down to you, for example. However, you also need somewhere to live, right? For anyone that lives near London, you know that you're going to have to pay £1,500 in rent. And you're thinking, yeah, but that's going down the drain. But watch. You're living somewhere, you're paying £1,500. But you did the smart thing. Something the rich talk about, not just me. Something the rich say. The rich say that make your money make money for you. And what do they mean by this? And I'm going to give you a few examples of these guys now.
Story, which was when I got married, we did have about $10,000 starting off, and I told Susie, I said, now, you know, there's 2 choices. It's up to you. We can either buy a house, which will use up all my capital and clean me out, and it'll be like a carpenter who's had his tools taken away from him, or you can let me work on this, and someday, who knows, maybe I'll even buy a little bit larger house than would otherwise be the case. So she was very understanding on that point.
You know, I rent where I live. I treat houses like hospitals. You know, you get in, you get out.
Yeah.
The grocery store, Whole Foods. I don't buy the whole grocery store. I go get the stuff I need, and then I leave. And houses were built for banks. They weren't built for people. They were built for banks. And then the people were lied to and said, oh, a house is a great investment. A house is one of the dumbest, worst investments a human being could possibly make for one reason. You have to pay the house doesn't pay you. And if it doesn't pay you, it's not a good investment.
Now, I know some of you guys are going to be like, yeah, but we don't have £250,000. In fact, this method could also be applied to £150,000 or £100,000. If you have some money coming towards you from whatever source it is, this method applies to you. Because look, if you can have £500 coming in a month, if you can have £1,000 coming in a month from rental yield, then it means that you could easily live in a rented house and have your rent pay for your rent. Look, at times you might even need to top it up. You might even need to pay £300 more or £400 more. But is that not what you pay in a mortgage? Of course it is. That's exactly what you pay in a mortgage. When you are paying £700, and do go back to my video when I tell you the negatives about a mortgage. But if you go back to that video, in that video tell you exactly how much you pay in equity off that house and how much you pay in interest. I'm not going to give it away, but the video is going to be here, so check it out. The point here I'm making to you is, We as Muslims cannot have a mortgage. So the method I'm talking about of having an amount, having a large sum of money and buying flats in a place where you can put them on rent outright, not through the banks, not through the system, and off that rental yield, you'll be making money and paying for the rent where the house you're living in is also being paid for by the houses that you own. So, some guys are like, yeah, but the houses are going up in price. Well, so are your houses up north. Okay, sure, the percentage might be less. And again, here we're referring to inflation. We're not referring to profit as such. But the houses up north are also going up in value. You're earning rent of them. You're just living on rent. But the beautiful thing is, if you are in a situation where you can have 2 or 3 flats up north on rent, you're not paying any money to live in a house. Like if you guys have a house at the moment that you have an equity of 200 or 250,000 pound, you should sell it. If it is especially on a mortgage, you should sell it and buy houses up north. You should buy flats up north, put them on rent and move into a rented house. Why? Because we know as Muslims, we're not allowed to have a mortgage, 1. And 2, it is actually much better for you because you will not pay money to live in the house that you're living in. I hope that makes sense. But I know my brothers and sisters, there are still the ones that are like, no, this doesn't make sense. No matter what you say, doesn't make sense. Which is why I think it was important for me to show you the guys who are the millionaires, the billionaires, saying the exact same thing I'm sitting here saying to you guys. The difference here is Abu Musa is the Muslim brother telling you guys, we Muslims are not allowed to have a mortgage. This is subjective. Of course, there are scenarios, maybe having a mortgage is better economically. Like as Muslims, we're not allowed to have that situation. We're not allowed to be in that situation and we're not allowed to pay interest. So if I am here trying to give you guys an alternative, it is for a reason. Maybe it is a little bit worse. And we already know that in the UK, as Ustad Ma'awiyah told us in the video where I tell you guys what is wrong with a mortgage, that Islamic mortgages in the UK are pretty much the same thing. You're just paying a lot more money. I'm trying to here give you guys an alternative which is actually halal. You're not even going through the banks. You're practically paying for the amount yourself outright. And you know, that's the way you're trying to go about it. But my brothers, my sisters, it is not easy, I know. I know people will turn around and say, whoa, like you don't have your own house, oh my days, what's going on? Subhanallah, man. We're Muslims, of course, we're going to be strange. We know this. As Muslims, we know we will always be the strangers. I just need you guys to think open-heartedly. I'm trying to give you guys as much alternatives as I can. And don't worry, this is not the end. This is a brief introduction to how we can have alternatives and the sort of scenarios where we can have our money, make money for us. But this is one of the safest way possible. Of course, there are fees involved. Of course, there are going to be people like, yeah, but you have to pay, maybe a management fee. Maybe you don't have rent coming in some months. Maybe you have to pay for repairs. Habibi, the truth of the matter is, this is maybe and ifs happen in mortgages as well as rent. Okay, I guess what I'm saying to you guys is I need your love, I need your support. I need you guys to be like, you know what, this is an alternative because it is because the non-Muslims tell us it is, right? So here, if I'm sitting here as a Muslim brother trying to tell you guys, hear this out. The other guys, they know this. I'm trying to share this with my people now. So my people, basically what I'm saying is make your money make money for you. Don't have it where your money is stuck. Because in essence, when you put your money into a mortgage, what you're basically doing is putting that money away and saying, I'm not going to make money with this money. And if you know any business person, anyone who speaks about finance or anything like that, they'll always advise you to invest your money, double your money, make your money do things to make more money, right? That's what they say. So that's exactly what I'm saying. If you have a large sum of money, then put it away, buy flats outright, put them on rent, and make that rent that you earn, go live in a rented house. There's nothing wrong with it. Absolutely nothing. Don't let society tell you that there's something wrong with the rented house. Go live in a rented house. Alhamdulillah, 100% halal, no problem. buy the house outright, halal, no problem. If you do this with a good intention, inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make it easy for you as well. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, if you guys struggle, and if you guys even thrive to, inshallah, do something halal, then of course Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to bless you as well. In today's day and age, in today's society, when it's difficult, if you guys do that, it will be easier for you. And listen, my people, this does not just apply to London. This also applies to up north. Because you guys can buy a flat for 40, 50, 60,000 pounds at times, put it on rent, have that earning rent, and live in a rented house where maybe you're only paying 6, 7, 800, 900 pounds, obviously depending on where you're living. So this does not just apply to people down London, but of course it's harder to buy a house outright in London, right? It's easier, I would say, to a certain extent up north because obviously you can for less money. So, my people, the advice is there. This, I guess, is more for the people who already have a sum of money. Whether that's £50,000 where you can buy one flat, or £150,000 where you maybe can buy two, or maybe even £250,000. Maybe you can buy 3 or 4 flats, put them on rent, live on a rented house. You never know, you might even be making profit. Imagine that, making profit living in a house. Because in essence, what you could do after a little while is save up money, put that money away, live in rented houses, make the houses that are on rent, make their money for you, and then save up to buy another flat. But this time when you put that flat on rent, it will make pure profit. But my brothers and sisters, don't worry. For the people who don't have a deposit or a large sum of money or a big amount that you could just go buy flats and put them on rent, I got you. Your brother Abu Musa has you. Inshallah, my plan is to guide you guys even more and give you ideas more than anything where you can obviously do things the halal way. Inshallah, I'll be back for you guys for another part to this series of avoiding the mortgage. So make sure to subscribe, like, and share with the family and friends, because next time we're going to be talking about where you guys have no money and you want to buy a house, or maybe you want something where you can have housing. Because I'm not really a fan of buying the house and living in the house, because that's what the rich advise us. So why would I do something like that? Does that make sense? But look, my brothers and sisters, I appreciate your support so much. You guys are amazing. I know this may tick some people off, and I get it. Like, I understand, because you've always been taught the one way. But if you can, try to think about this with an open heart and an open mind. All I am trying to do is give alternatives to something which is haram. So I hope this benefits you. And from me to you, that is all today. In conclusion, I appreciate your time. Listen, Red Bull, if you guys want to sponsor me, you hear me? Like, I don't know, I'm a big Red Bull fan, you know what I mean? But Jazakallah khairan, I appreciate your time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.